niche-specific Instagram influencers. Please understand that persona is the name of the game in Instagram. People follow personas. They're not following just because somebody has nice pictures. Most people can do that. Most people can manage to post nice pictures every once in a while. Instead, they're following personas because they have a distinct spin on whatever niche they're in. They have a distinct personality. They have a distinct point of view. Whatever the case may be, it has elements of some sort of cult. By cult, I'm not using that phrase in a negative way. Instead, people are looking for just a specialized knowledge from people who specialize in that type of information. There's a little bit of a cult dynamic going on here. When you have that kind of relationship with your following, they are more likely to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're more likely to click on the profile links of people you're giving a shout out to. That's real influence. And that's how a lot of products are sold on Instagram. For example, if you follow somebody who you can count on to publish the very best pictures on luxury watches that he or she actually wears, chances are you would sit up and pay attention when this person posts a picture of a really nice-looking big brand watch with the message 40% off on it. That would get your attention. You would then click on the link of the account that the person is shouting out to, or you can even type in the domain name or URL they mention and type in your discount code. That's how influence works. It's all about this cult of personality. Beware of fake influencers. Unfortunately, when word came out that online stores were paying good money to Instagram influencers for product placements and shoutouts, a lot of shady marketers started building fake accounts. Just how fake are these accounts? Well, first of all, they target certain niches. Next, they draw followers. The problem here is that the account itself is fake and the followers are fake. This is a serious problem because if you paid the person behind these accounts real money to post shoutouts, your shoutouts are going to fall on deaf ears. Nobody's going to pay attention. Why? Most of their followers are fake. They're driven by software. They don't exist. They definitely don't have credit cards. Do you see how much of a headache this could be? It is no surprise that a lot of big global brands are now stepping away from Instagram influencers because they're getting tired of being faked out. Real influence means real engagement. So how do you make sure that you pay and interact only with real niche-specific Instagram influencers? Well, it's actually not all that hard. You only need to look at the public statistics of these accounts. You can see the amount of engagement their content gets. You can also see how many followers they have. You need to measure the total amount of engagement they get by dividing that number by the number of followers they have. Look for a ratio. This is how you would know if there is enough engagement with that account. This is a way of seeing who's fake and who's not. You can also look at the content that they post. If they keep posting the same stuff over and over again, that might be a red flag. Also, look at the comments. Is there actual care taken in sharing? The 4 key signs of fake influence. So how do you know that you're dealing with a real influencer? After all, real influence means actual conversions. There are 4 telltale signs of fake Instagram influence. Sign number 1, equal following and follower ratio. If you notice that an account follows a lot of other accounts while enjoying a large following, this should be a red flag. Chances are they just followed a lot of accounts, so these other accounts would follow them back. Those people may be real, but they're not interested in what this account is posting because they're just following back out of courtesy. That's fake influence. Sign number 2, low engagement ratio. If you notice that this account posts a lot of content, but the engagement ratio is low, this is a red flag. If your account has real followers, there should be a certain level of engagement. It's not like all your posts are going to suck. If you notice that this account doesn't really get that much engagement, that should be a red flag. Sign number 3, they obviously ask for money. If it's obvious from the profile description of the niche-specific account you're trying to buy shoutouts from that they take payments, you might want to pay attention. Look at how they describe themselves. If they make a big deal out of the fact that they're selling shoutouts or they want you to get in touch with them so you can take out an ad, be very suspicious. The very best influencers on Instagram are those who are hobbyists. These are people who are just very passionate about a particular topic. They don't really care about getting paid. They just eat, sleep, and live the topic. Maybe it's travel. Maybe it's women's fashion. Maybe it's luxury watches. Maybe it's sports cars. Whatever the case may be, they are hobbyists. They are passionate about that topic, so they post picture after picture of that topic. Those are the people you should gun for. Be very suspicious of people who are all about the dollars, because there's a strong chance that they put up their account just so they can get shout out and other influencer ad revenue. I'm not saying that this should completely disqualify them, but there's a higher incentive for them to fake stuff because there's money on the line. Sign number 4, no niche specialization. If it turns out that this influencer account tends to rotate among different niches, this should be a red flag to you. What this person is doing is that he or she is trying to get the attention of advertisers from different product niches that they know advertisers normally target. This person doesn't really have a focus. Even in the off chance that this account is real, I can bet you that the traffic that this person gets is probably close to worthless. Start with a slow and low buy. The first thing that you need to do is to get a massive list of influencers out there and then contact them. Now, I'm assuming that you have filtered out fake accounts. Contact them. The name of the game here is volume. Try to get as many different influencers as you can and contact them. Ask them, can I buy for $5? Or whatever low rate you can come up with. The name of the game here is to get as many shout-outs and picture ad placements for as little money as possible. The next step is to track these campaigns and see which, if any, of those influencers can deliver real results. You should be able to come up with a top 3. If you, for example, have 100 influencers running your ads and doing shout-outs, you should be able to identify the top 3 in terms of conversions. You own your online store, so you know whether you sold or not. You know whether you moved a product or not. You should also use specialized discount codes so you can track who is actually selling. Pick the top 3 and pay them more for exposure. This is how you maximize your results. So, you start out low and slow, and then you scale up the campaigns that actually produce the desired result. Find your competitors on Instagram and reverse engineer them. The first thing you need to do is list out all your competitors. If you don't know who your competitors are, go on Google and type in keywords related to your online store. Find all your competitors on Google and use the similar site research on Google to find online stores that are related to your competitors. Come up with a massive list. Search for them on Instagram. Once you have a great list of competitors, the next step is to look for them on Instagram. Do they have Instagram accounts? If they do, come up with a big list of competitors there as well. Study your competitors' Instagram accounts. Once you have a massive list of direct URLs on Instagram of your competitors, study them very closely. Take note of the quality of their Instagram profile. Pay attention to their content strategy. What kind of content do they keep publishing over and over again? I'm not saying that they're publishing the same exact content, but you can tell that they publish content using the same theme or topics. Take note of these. Most importantly, pay attention to the hashtags they're using. Reverse engineer your competitors' success. At this point, you should be aware that some of your competitors' content gets a lot more love from Instagram than others. This should be your top priority. Figure out which of their content gets the most traction. I am, of course, talking about the number of likes, comments, and other indicators of popularity. Forget about everything else. Once you have listed your competitors' most successful content, spend enough time figuring them out. What should you look for? Pay attention to the hashtags they use. Take note of the kinds of pictures or videos that are most popular. Also, pay attention to the description text for these items. Do you see any similarities? Can you connect the dots? Is there some bigger pattern emerging? After you have studied these elements, pay attention to the profile page of your competitor and also the text embedded in the pictures or the call to action mentioned in the videos. These relate to their sales funnel. Basically, they are mentioning discount codes so people viewing this content can get a discount. They're also promoting the profile page of their website. Look at their sales funnel strategy. How do they use their popular content to get traffic to their site? Next, how do they convert that traffic to their site into paying customers? Do they use discount codes? Do they just dump them directly to their sales page? Is there some sort of special promotion they are holding? Do they dump people into a squeeze page so people can sign up to a mailing list that will notify them of special sales? Be clear on the sales funnel strategy that is most common among your competitors. Please understand that they will not use this model if it doesn't work. The fact that you keep seeing this model in many different forms again and again pretty much tells you everything you need to know about that sales funnel. They wouldn't be promoting it if it didn't work. Learn to connect the dots. At this level, you need to write down extensive notes regarding the 3 key factors for your success. Your goal is to understand your competitors' content so you can beat them at their own game. You're going to copy their themes. These themes are content themes. These are the things that they talk about consistently, which get a lot of love from their followers. Next, you're going to copy their sales funnel. There's a reason why the vast majority of your competitors have adopted pretty much the same sales funnel. There's no need for you to be a hero. There's no need for you to come up with something completely new. You just need to identify what works and build something similar. You need to build something that will improve on what your competitors have done. Next, you're going to pay attention to their content because you're going to come up with something better so you get a competitive advantage. These are the 3 strands that you need to put together for you to come out ahead of the competition on Instagram. Otherwise, you're just going to be sharing the same general stuff that they are sharing, and this is not going to help you. Seriously. Why? Well, you're not building a distinctive persona. You're just playing the game to be just another face in the crowd. At the back of their minds, your target audience members are saying to themselves, well, I can get the exact content from this brand's competitors. Why am I here? I'm not getting anything spectacularly different. The key here is to copy the same themes and the same sales funnels, but also to improve on them. In other words, you build on the strength, you leverage the strength of your competitors, but end up doing better than them because you address their weaknesses as well. You're going to be able to do this when you figure out their winning content themes and then come up with your own higher quality content. Second, you figure out their most popular hashtags and you use those hashtags for your own content. Finally, you take note of their most common sales funnels and you optimize your own version so you can get better results. The bottom line here is pretty straightforward. There is no need to reinvent the wheel. Some of your competitors are already successful. Build on their success. Use reverse engineering to let your competitors do your homework for you. There's absolutely no need for you to start from scratch because, believe me, the trial and error that you have to go through that burns up a tremendous amount of your time, effort, and energy is just simply too expensive. Continuously optimize all parts of your funnel. Up to this point, you already know how to build a following on Instagram. You also already know how to create content that would not only build up your following, but can also draw attention to your profile page. Your profile page, of course, is where your target link is. When people click your target link, they go outside of Instagram and they go to a page you specify. This is the page where the action takes place. This page can be a consumer guide which qualifies your traffic. People can then click through to a page that's deeper inside your website. Ultimately, they can click on a link to go to the squeeze page for your mailing list. This is the page that recruits people to join your mailing list. You can also promote a sales page using these internal pages. There are just so many ways you can go with this. But regardless of how you plan to convert free or paid traffic on Instagram into paying customers, you need to optimize all parts of this funnel. The funnel starts with your content on Instagram. It gets narrower when people click through to your profile page. From there, it goes to a page on your website. From there, it can either go to an internal page or to a sales page or a squeeze page. Whatever the case may be, you need a very broad top for your funnel, and each smaller part of your funnel needs to be as broad as possible. Why? The more people you have coming in, the higher the total number of people you can convert if you set up your funnel right. And here comes the bad news. It's one thing to say that you're going to have to optimize all parts of your sales funnel. It's another to actually succeed doing them. You see, the biggest challenge here is random optimization. When people get the idea that they need to optimize their sales funnel, they basically would come up with a completely new funnel. They would come up with completely new ads. They would mix and match. And sometimes they succeed, but most of the time, they don't really come up with much of an improvement. Why? They're doing it in a random way. Make no mistake, random optimization is usually a waste of time. It really is. Even on the off chance that you were able to make certain random changes and all of a sudden your funnel converts at a higher rate, you're still in the dark. Why? You don't know which part of your funnel accounts for the improvement. And even if you are able to see which parts account for the difference, you don't know which segment of that part improved your results. Do you see how this works? Do you see why this is so confusing and so frustrating? Use elemental optimization. Thankfully, there is a better way to do optimization. You can use elemental optimization. Instead of just taking random guesses as to what would turbocharge the results of your sales funnel, you break up each part of the sales funnel process into elements and you make changes on an element-to-element basis. This way, you will only move on to the next element once you have improved the results of the previous element to a certain degree. Once you're happy with those improvements, then you move on to the next element, and then the next element after that. Please understand that the sales funnel is made up of many different parts. Each of these have different elements, but they can all be broken down into some common elements. The sales funnel, of course, involves the photos that you use on Instagram, your profile page, your consumer article or landing page article, and then your internal pages. Each of these have to be optimized, and each of these have separate elements within them. For this video, I'm just going to focus on the elements that can be found on Instagram. You can use the same element-by-element analysis to optimize your squeeze page, your consumer guide page, and other elements on your own website. But as far as this training is concerned, we're just going to focus on the elements found on Instagram. Key elements to keep in mind. When optimizing, here are the elements that you should focus on. Profile URL. This is the profile page that you have on Instagram. You can change the picture, you can change the description, but just make sure that when you make changes, you go element by element. This means you can swap out pictures until you get a nice improvement. Once the improvement is sustainable, you then change the text. See if it improves your click-through rate. Once you are able to do that, then you can change the landing page URL. Photos and videos. This should be obvious. These are the photos and videos that you post. Pay attention to engagement levels. Pay attention to click-through. If you notice that certain photos tend to get a lot more clicks, then post more of those photos. Keep posting similar photos until you can reach a sustainable high level of click-throughs. Hashtags. Keep switching around hashtags to see if there is any marked improvement in your click-through and your conversions. After you've reversed engineered your competitors, you should have a starting point. But don't end there. Keep playing around with the hashtags, customize the hashtags, and research related hashtags to see if you can get better results. Description. This is the text that you post along with your photos or videos. Post the same picture but play around with different descriptions. See if these different calls to action lead to greater click-throughs and eventually greater conversions. Posting time. If you're using software to post on Instagram, take note of when your content is posted. Pay attention to when most of your engagement takes place. Try to line up your posting time with engagement levels to optimize the effectiveness of your content. What to look for. When optimizing, you should look for the following. These indicate success. Look for increased click-through rate, increased dwell time, deeper clicks inside your website, and better conversion rates. Of course, we all know that at the end of the day, conversion is what matters the most. In fact, it's the only thing that matters. How come? Conversions puts dollars in your pockets and nothing else. However, to get there, you have to increase click-through rates. You also have to see if the page that you are presenting to people you draw from Instagram holds their attention for a longer time. You can keep optimizing that page to maximize dwell time. Also, pay attention to your initial content on your own website to see if you can optimize it so you can get deeper clicks. The more internal pages, the more the person views, the more interested that person is in whatever it is you have to offer. Ultimately, if you take care of these in an element-by-element basis, you can increase conversion rates. Adopt a content-first sales funnel. By content first, what I mean is that your sales strategy must turn on content. In other words, you use quality content to qualify the traffic you get from Instagram so they are more likely to become paying customers. This is crucial because a lot of marketers on Instagram use it as a traffic pump. That's all it is to them. It's just a place where they can get clicks. And if those clicks do not turn into buyers, no big deal. There's more where that came from. That's their attitude. Well, the problem with that strategy is that you burn through a tremendous amount of traffic before you can get a sale. What if I told you that you can pull less traffic, but actually make more money with a lower volume of traffic? This happens all the time. This is not theory. This is not speculation. This happens all the time. How? Using content to qualify your traffic. Make no mistake, Instagram and successful social media marketing turn on content marketing. You can't just pull traffic from all these places and expect that traffic to convert. That traffic must trust you. Those are real people. They must be made to feel that they know and like your brand enough for them to trust it. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen instantly. It has to go through a sequence of content. Make no mistake, raw traffic doesn't convert at a high enough return on investment. It simply doesn't. Because if this was the case, then everybody would stop wasting their time on content. They wouldn't bother. They would just buy raw traffic. But this isn't the case. Experienced marketers on Facebook and Instagram use a content-based sales funnel strategy. In other words, they use content marketing. The truth is, content marketing is more compatible with social media traffic, regardless of whether you buy ads or you drum up free organic traffic from Instagram and other social media platforms. The KLT process. Let me ask you, when was the last time you bought something from a complete and total stranger? That's right. This person just came up to you on the street and tried to sell you stuff. I'm willing to guess that this happens once in a blue moon. If you're like most people, this probably has never happened. Well, you're absolutely normal if that's your mindset. Why? Most people buy from people they think they know and trust. That's the bottom line. That is the bedrock of any kind of sales. I don't care whether it's done online or offline. It doesn't matter whether a small company or a big company is doing it. It's all about trust. When you use a content-based sales funnel strategy for Instagram, you build trust. This requires multiple pages. I wish I could tell you that you just need 2 pages to pull this off. I wish I could tell you that you just need to get people to a general consumer guide and then they would reliably click through to the sales page and they would buy stuff. That's wishful thinking. Now, don't get me wrong, this happens from time to time. I know it happens to me quite a bit, but I cannot bank on that. What I can bank on is trust. How? When people from Instagram find their way to my website, they land on a consumer page that addresses their needs. They're looking for answers. They're looking for solutions. So they get all this information and then they can click through for more finely tuned, more efficient, or better value solutions. When you do this, you build credibility and authority. You also control the conversation. You then offer them a freebie to join your mailing list. Once they join your mailing list, that's when the real selling begins. You already have them in the palm of your hand. You then drip feed them content to open their mind to their needs and get them excited about premium solutions. The more of these premium solutions you sell them, the more money you make. The best part of having a mailing list is that this asset grows in value over time. When you send an update, you may not be able to convert them right then and there, but you get another chance to convert them when you send out another update. Fast forward this to many months or even years, and you can see why every single person on your list can potentially turn into dollars later on. None of this is possible without the KLT process. You have to walk the visitor to the point where they trust you. Working a multi-page strategy. Once you pull traffic from Instagram to a page on your site, you have to have links in that initial content that would take them to a page that would further build their trust. For example, if people are just looking for basic information, the first page they would land on let them know of certain options out there. Once they are excited about a particular option, they can click another link that would take them to a page that talks about a specific type of option, which they obviously already like. This page then gives enough details that they build trust. At this point, you can then recruit them to your squeeze page and let your mailing list do the selling. You can also give them the answer in the form of a freebie in exchange for them signing up for your email list. Whatever the case may be, you walk the visitor through the trust stage. This can be very quick with some people. Others require a longer time span. Whatever the case may be, when you have a mailing list at the end of the sales funnel, you have greater control over your messaging. You also control the pace of the messaging. This higher level of control translates to greater conversion control later on. Curate top-notch content and mix in your reverse-engineered content. Now that you have a clear idea of the themes of your competitors' most successful content, look for third-party content that non-competitors or lower-level competitors produce that meet these themes. When you do this, you're saving a lot of money. You obviously don't have to create this content. Instead, you're just simply sharing it. However, you're doing yourself a big favor because you are giving your target audience the kind of content they are looking for. You're giving them something to engage with that based on your research of your competitors, they already like. When you feature this content, you tend to attract the same types of audience as your competitors. Now, curation can only take you so far. You shouldn't build and maintain your Instagram account solely on curated content. You're being lazy when you do that. Instead, you use this content to draw and engage with your audience members. Next, you then come up with a short list of your competitors' very best content and you come up with your own version. This version has to be so much better that it's obvious. This is the key. This is what will put you over. Because remember, you're trying to build a persona. Up to this point, when you curate, the only persona you're building is that you're just part of the niche. Your brand is just another face in the crowd. You want to get over. You want to come up head and shoulders from the rest. How do you do this? You improve the best existing niche content you find on Instagram and you publish this as your own. By paying attention to video 4 and figuring out what is the hottest content in your niche, you then come up with your own version and then use this on your own feed. You rotate these along with the curated content that you are already publishing. How exactly do you improve on others' content? There are several ways you can improve the quality of content that you reverse engineer. Again, you're not copying and pasting here. You're not taking somebody's work and passing it off as your own. No, you're taking ideas so you can create your own original content, but you end up creating better content because you used one or a few or all of the following strategies. To improve content, you should do the following. Update. Offer an updated version of the content. If the hottest pictures your competitors are showing are grainy and obviously old, come up with an updated picture. You'd be surprised as to how viral your content can be. How come? Well, you are publishing something that is obviously up to date. Higher production quality. When you're publishing content, make sure that the quality values of the content are high. This means high resolution, crisp imagery, the colors are top-notch. Also, the composition has to be really good. You have to produce content that is so obviously superior to your competitors that your brand stands out. That is the standard you should aim for. Include more details. I can't even begin to tell you how many Instagram accounts out there just post a picture and hashtag, if that. That's all they do. I'm telling you, big, small, or medium-sized brands on Instagram that do this are leaving a lot of money on the table. You have to give more details because when you do this, you complete information gaps in the minds of your viewers. There's less mystery. This makes your brand more trustworthy. Eventually, if you keep this up, they start looking at your brand as some sort of reference site or some sort of resource. Don't be lazy. Now, there is such a thing as overkill, but you have to find that happy medium ground between too much information and not enough. Use better hashtags. When you do your reverse engineering, you will notice that some tags get used a lot more, but unfortunately, they may be too general or they may be too broad. You might end up attracting the wrong kind of crowd. You have to play around with your hashtag selection until you reach a point where you can be sure that a more specific tag is pulling more traffic from Instagram or helping you gain more followers. Unfortunately, there is no black and white answer to this. This is one of those things that you just have to try out on a purely trial and error basis until you get it right. Come up with a better picture series. Believe it or not, when people like a picture on Instagram, a lot of them want to see more. They're not talking about pictures of the same subject or similar types of pictures. They're talking about pictures from the same series. It's not unusual for people to see a picture of a beautiful vacation location, and somebody just posted 2 pictures. People who see that vacation destination would love to see its surrounding areas. They would love to see what it looks like at night, low tide, high tide, you name it. The more angles your pictures present, the more engaged your community can become. Use a better influencer distribution network. After you've done Instagram marketing for a couple of weeks, you would quickly notice that some accounts on Instagram tend to get a lot more attention in your niche than others. You should not automatically run away from these people. You might be thinking that they are competitors. You might be thinking that they are out to get your slice of the pie. Stop thinking that way. Instead, start looking at them as allies. Obviously, they already did the heavy lifting of attracting the same audience that you're trying to attract. Engage with them and get them to pay attention to your feed, and they may possibly share some of your content. Now, you may be thinking to yourself that a lot of these accounts are in it for the money. That well may be true. But there are also a lot of hobbyist accounts out there. These are people who would voluntarily share content as long as they think it's good. Call your viewer to action. To get better results than your competitors, always include a call to action. With everything else being equal, if you have a competitor that just posts really gorgeous pictures and doesn't bother to call the viewer to action, You probably would get better results if you posted superior pictures with a call to action. Remember, the name of the game here is to figure out your competitors' strengths and build on them while at the same time taking advantage of their weaknesses. Profile link call to action must address content. Everything you do on Instagram must integrate with content. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're just going to get shout-outs and you're just going to post a lot of stuff on Instagram to get people to click on your homepage link, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. You really are. Why? You want to qualify that traffic so that that traffic eventually converts into sales. How do you do that? Well, one of the most basic ways to do this is to link your profile link to an internal page. That's right. You don't link it to your homepage. People landing on your own page might not know what to do. They're more likely to click the back button. Instead, when you feature a consumer guide or some sort of list article that clues people in on the common questions regarding your niche, you can build credibility. You are also answering questions. You are also answering needs. This increases the likelihood that the person that you get to click onto that page will keep clicking internal links because they think that you are an authority. Eventually, you get them to click on a link that will take them to your email list. This is how I prefer to convert Instagram traffic. I don't just dump them into an article, which then dumps them into a sales page. It would be great if they are in a mood to buy, but chances are they are not. The better approach is to get them on your mailing list and let your mailing list, by sending content and other information, do the heavy lifting of eventually converting your list members into paying customers. That's how the game is played. If you don't follow the tips above, chances are your content is just going to remain flat. It's not going to register with your target audience members.